I'd like to call this meeting to order, the special meeting for general purposes of the Scranton School District. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mrs. Orr.
Mr. Casey? Present. Mr. Dennison?
Present.
Mr. Dwight?
Present.
Mr. Duffy?
Present.
Mr. Martinelli?
Here.
Mr. McAndrew?
Present.
Mrs. Oleski? Mr. Sherry?
Here.
Dr. Rowan?
Here.
8 present, 1 absent.
I understand there are no visiting delegations tonight, so I will turn the meeting over to Budget and Finance. Director Donahue.
10B1, are we going to get a presentation from CaseCom?
From Mr. Judge?
Yes, with regards to 10B1.
Yes, there he is.
Where would you like?
Wherever you want to go, sir.
Here's good.
Good.
Been talking to, well, I'll start from the beginning. Read about your issues in the paper,
I noticed.
supposed issues in the paper, and I penned a letter to your acting superintendent that have been involved in these situations before. Let's sit down and talk. Maybe I can help when I understand what your issues are. We sat down and chatted. Sat down with your solicitor and kind of went through a couple of ideas. And on Friday, actually sat down with Greg to try and start developing some facts. The bottom line being to help your budget issues going forward, I guess I proposed going through a number of steps to allow you to institute a plan whereby you can try to keep any taxes low, possibly raise some money to help you through your situation. And I presented a telegram to your acting superintendent and gave it to Greg. And so these are the ideas. Let's work through it. Right now, we are working through those issues, meeting Friday with John and Greg to kind of get more facts together. And at some point in the very, very near future, we'll put a plan together for you all to consider. That would be an all-encompassing plan. These are the money you can raise. This is what you maybe need to backfill with other revenue. But a full comprehensive plan for you to consider plan A, plan B, or plan C, and see how you're going to tackle your issues going forward. So that's where we are right now. We're not, I don't have anything specific because I don't have the facts yet. And I don't want to give you anything that's incorrect. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Judge, as far as proceeding forward, some of the areas that you're looking at,
Yes.
finance, with regard to banks, bonds.
Yes. Yes, Robert. Okay, I can expound on that. Historically, you've done most of your deals in the capital markets. I believe all your deals in the capital markets, other than the 2011 E-Series, whereby you would issue tax-exempt or tax-exempt non-bank qualified bonds, and you would get a very competitive rate on a long-term basis. Depending upon how the numbers flow, again, which I don't have yet, but depending upon how the numbers flow and how much money you're going to need next year and the succeeding years, I've had very good success with some fairly large loans whereby we kept it on a bank qualified basis. The difference between the bank qualified basis and a non-bank qualified basis for you isn't really substantial, but it could be something that we may want to consider. To do that, we would have to do your tax anticipation note on a taxable basis. The math being the difference between a tax exempt plan and a taxable plan, you're paying a little bit more for a 1-year period. The difference between a bank qualified loan, and some of the banks are very, very aggressive, locally, very aggressive, versus a non-bank qualified bond in market-based on a long-term basis will be Y. So you just look at the difference and see where you're making the most money. And hopefully, if that turns out to be true this year, you plan on doing that next year. And if the math doesn't turn out appropriately, then kind of go back to what you know, non-bank qualified bonds in the capital markets.
Thank you.
And even frankly, you could even think about doing, again, how the numbers will dictate where we go. You could even consider doing a short-term taxable deal. The difference between I think I gave Greg some numbers before, the difference between a short-term taxable deal and a non-bank qualified tax-exempt deal in this market is pretty small. But again, numbers will dictate, and how aggressive the banks are at the time we ask them will dictate where we go. I just basically keeping all your options open and try to keep that avenue where it is most efficient for you to borrow money. Anything else?
What sort of fees do you charge? I haven't seen anything in writing as to what your fees are for this service.
I did a draft engagement today.
I did get it, but it literally, what, 2:30, 3 o'clock, so
Yeah.
I would like to review it, and,
Real quick.
you know.
Everything is spelled out in there for you guys to look at.
I gave a copy of that to Greg, too, earlier, so.
Based on meeting with Greg on Friday, I think you said, how soon after you get the numbers that you need will we get some kind of a plan?
A week.
A week. And will we be able, if all goes well, we'll be able to put this plan into place by year's end?
The timing being, you would need a plan, you would certainly need a plan as you consider next year's budget.
Right,
So I think, yeah.
Okay,
That's
that's-
what we're trying to.
okay,
dovetail
that's-
that
Which we
decision
change
making
our,
in with
approve our
what
budgets
the-
in December, so it has to be
Right.
before December 15th, I believe, right?
right,
That's exactly
okay,
why we're doing that. Just to help you with that budget.
all right. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Judge,
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you
Judge.
for the consideration.
for coming out.
You want me to stick around?
Stick around.
Thank you.
Before I read this resolution, I'd like to make a motion to table this resolution until the solicitor and the business manager have a chance to look
Second.
over the fees.
Second.
Roll call on the table.
Mr. Casey?
Yes.
Mr. Duncan?
Yes.
Mr. Dwight?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Martinelli?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Sheridan?
Yes.
Dr. Irwin?
Yes.
8 members.
10B2. It is the recommendation of the Budget and Finance Committee that the following resolution is approved, whereas the Scranton School District has financed debt using a swap formula, and whereas PNC has extended the term of the swap until October 2015, and therefore be it resolved that the board president and other district officials are hereby authorized to sign the swap extension and agreement. Respectfully submitted.
Second.
On the question,
On the question, when it says extended the term until October 2015, aren't we doing this to lock in a rate for 3 years?
Right now, PNC, and correct me if I'm wrong, PNC, we need to do something at least for a year, as we move forward, because it is callable, there's a repricing in October. That's,
Okay.
Yeah, if we could just talk about that a little bit, there's really two parts to what you have tonight, if you want to do both pieces. One, PNC, as we talked about before, PNC's initial term of their deal, the note that they hold, the 2011E, their rate reset happens tomorrow. So what they have provided is an extension of that for a year, but it does go up, as we said, to 90 basis points. The other part of it was the resolution on refinancing that loan and locking it in for a 3-year period with the new swap documentation. So it's really a matter of,
And is that still possible to do after tonight, or?
sure, PNC, we kind of have to do that, because even if we approve the swap, or the refunding tonight in the swap resolution, we can't get that done for a couple of months. So we have to keep the 11E in place. And PNC just agreed to the 90 basis points for the year, knowing that we're working forward to taking them out before that. So it doesn't, their extension doesn't lock them in. They just will continue that rate not longer than a year, which is why we talked about extending.
Okay.
Roll call, Mrs. Orr?
Mr. Donahue?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Martelli?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Sheridan?
Yes.
Mr. Casey?
Yes.
Dr. Ross?
Yes.
For the record, I did have a chance to look at the letter extension agreement. If anyone wants to look at it, it's very short. It has to be signed by the board president in order for it to be valid. So I'll leave that here, you know. That, again, arrived today, so.
10D3, to the members of the Scranton School Board, the Budget and Finance Committee hereby recommends the following resolution. Whereas the Lackawanna County Tax Claim Bureau has approved the repository sale of certain properties, and the school district approves the following repository sales. 642 Beach Street, map number 156-2001-005-801, MMSD Partners, $1,930. Respectfully submitted.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call, Mrs. Orr?
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Martelli?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Sheridan?
Yes.
Mr. Casey?
Yes.
Mr. Donahue?
Yes.
Dr. Ross?
Yes.
8 ayes.
Like to have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn?
Second? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.